Alrighty, thank you all so much for joining us. We have a great set of presentations today. Walker River Paiute Tribe in Shures, Nevada has been running an internship program for several years, and this year is really focused on food security needs within their community. And so we thought it would be a great opportunity to have some amazing interns from this summer talk a bit about their program and what they've been up to. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce our intern presenters today. We have Darcy M., who is a senior in chemical engineering at the University of Nevada, Reno. We have Walker Owing, who's, just graduated with his BS in business administration from University of Oregon. And we have Stella Owing, who is, a junior at the University of Oregon, studying human physiology. And they provide some great information that I think will be highlighted in their presentation. So I won't say any more at this point regarding their introductions, but without further ado, I want to turn it over to you all. And again, thank you so much to all the attendees today. We've got a great list of participants. And so again, thank you all from Walker River for preparing this, and I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Right on. Cool. Thank you, Kier. Let me pull this up real quick. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Walker. We are the Walker River Paiute Tribe College interns. This is our presentation about our food sovereignty project. First of all, I just want to give a big shout out to IAC for this opportunity, and then we're going to jump into some formal introductions. My name is Walker Owing. I'm a member of the Walker River Paiute Tribe. In June, I graduated from the University of Oregon with my Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration and a minor in Media Studies. During my time there, I was very involved in the professional business fraternity on campus Alpha Kappa Psi. Their focus was to develop students professionally, so heavy emphasis on developing skills like networking and interviewing skills, and I held an elected position my junior and senior year. Very passionate about cooking. In the future, I plan to attend culinary school to sort of like further my knowledge about this field, and then eventually I want to work there and tie back my business background to open up my own restaurant. I've been involved in this internship for about the past 4 summers, and this year I was particularly intrigued to participate simply because of the food sovereignty program. I really thought that this would be like a really excellent opportunity to sort of explore my passions in a different scope and have a really positive impact on the community while doing it. My advice to anyone wanting to become involved in this field, or if you're just like a college student or like a high school student, really anybody, just is to get out of your comfort zone. So like in my experience, the periods where I have the most personal growth are situations where I'm really uncomfortable and forced to adapt. And like these sort of adaptations have helped me develop different skills, whether it be like technical or not, and kind of have helped me along the path and becoming like who I want to be. Next we have Stella.
Hi, my name is Stella Owing. I am a member of the Walker River Paiute Tribe and a college intern for their Water Resources Department. I am an incoming junior at the University of Oregon, where I'm studying human physiology. And with a degree in human physiology, I am hoping to become a physician's assistant. And although human physiology doesn't have much to do with environmental resources or the food ag business, I wanted to be part of this internship because I didn't really know much about my native heritage, and I really wanted to learn about that because growing up, I wasn't really exposed to that part of my life. So when I saw my brother do this internship 2 years before me, I saw that he was really learning a lot of things and having a lot of fun. So I just kind of followed in his footsteps. And I'm very happy that I did it. And this is my 2nd year as an intern. As far as professional development goes, this internship has taught me a lot about how to be professional, because most of the time we're working with older adults who we really need to be professional with. And we also go to a bunch of meetings and trainings, and we also give presentations like these. And we have to write papers and do research. So I think this job has really helped me a lot professionally. And if I were to give advice to a student or anyone, it would be, no matter how hard something gets, just keep pushing through it and do the best that you can. this is something that I learned in college going through like all my hard classes, and I just really wanted to do the best that I could, but it was really hard, but I just kept pushing through and it all paid off in the end.
Hi everyone, my name is Darcy M. I am a Shoshone, I'm Shoshone, Washoe, and Paiute from Northern Nevada, and I am going to the University of Nevada, Reno, getting my bachelor's in chemical engineering with a minor in math. Professional memberships offer access to scholarships, conferences, and networking opportunities with people in your same career path or cultural and ethnic background. So my memberships are the American Institute of Chemical Engineers and the American Indian Science and Engineering Society. So they offer, like I said, scholarships and opportunities that, you know, by myself I would not be able to find. I'm also a member of the Native American Student Organization on campus, and I've been a member for the time I've been a student. And we provide student support and social opportunities to incoming students as well as current students that, you know, need a little bit more support or want to be around people of their same ethnic background. And in the past, we have put on round dances and powwows and other cultural education opportunities like basket weaving and shawl making and stuff like that. And currently, I have 4 years of working in Indian country. I have 3 years, and it's going to be 4, with the Reno Sparks Indian Colony as a K through 12 academic tutor, which is really good because a lot of students, especially in Indian country, need help with their math and science. And since that's one of my strongest backgrounds, I wanted to help as much as I could. And I've also participated in their professional development internship where you work in different departments. So I took it in their finance office. And so that offered a lot of professional development, like how to dress and how to act. And I had my own office space and stuff like that. And then last year I took an internship with the EPA Region 9 Air and Radiation Division, where I worked on several projects. And this is not specifically in Indian country, but you know, the EPA is the federal bureau that oversees the environmental stuff in Indian country. And so then this year, I was super excited to be part of Walker River's program because it is a hometown program where I can live, you know, with my family and not have to go and put myself out there, because I was in San Francisco last year and that was really tough for me, being a small town kind of person. And so this brings me to my advice. Take every opportunity that offers you a chance to learn, give back to the community, or go somewhere. Because like I said, you know, you get somewhere where you're not used to being and you kind of develop into a different person and you grow and you learn and realize that that world's a lot bigger out there than it is just on the reservation or just in the small town that you're in. And that leads into don't get discouraged because, oh man, I definitely had my time being a student in one of the most difficult fields you can go into, and also trying to push myself to be a more well-rounded, better, you know, educated person. And so all you want to do is leave your legacy. You know, you leave your mark on the people that are around you or the people that you learn from, so that they remember you, you know, for the next thing, when they think about you as a professional, they're like, oh, I know someone in that field. So that's where that comes in. So now Walker is going to go into our overview.
Right on. Cool, there it is. Thank you, Darcy. So we just did our student introductions. I'm going to talk a little bit more about our tribe. Then we're going to go into the importance of food, traditional food and food sovereignty. Darcy's going to detail our specific food sovereignty project, and we're going to talk a little bit about the future, what that looks like, and then we're going to talk a little bit about tribal ecological knowledge, and then some traditional foods that we've had the opportunity to work with. So we are the Walker River Paiute tribe. We're located in Schurz, Nevada, which is indicated right on the map right there. So we're in the high Nevada desert, very dry, very arid climate, very hot summers, very cold winters. So there's a lot of extremes. Our community is, we're very small, but we're a very tight-knit reservation. There's a lot of barriers that our people face. And like one of the major ones is opportunity, just in terms of jobs and education on the reservations. I mean, like the jobs pretty much are just only tribal, and like the only education we have in Schurz is a middle school. So there's not a lot of opportunity there. And then another barrier that was really highlighted by the effects of COVID were the barriers that exist in the community to fresh produce and to healthy food. So when COVID struck our reservation, it closed it to all visitors, and all businesses shut down. So like, which is pretty much just our little smoke shop. So that's like pretty much the only place you can buy food and Schurz. And it's like with everything being shut down and everything being shut, like it really highlighted the inability that some of our community members had to have access to those healthy foods. So like you basically need a car or somebody who can go grocery shopping for you. And like one of our aims this summer was to help our community heal from the effects of the virus while breaking down some of those barriers that exist to healthy food. I know I mentioned it a little bit prior, but I cannot like make enough of a point of it. Like there's just not access to healthy food on the reservation, like, and there are like rampant health issues on our tribe. Like some of them, like the most prominent are high blood pressure, high rates of diabetes and obesity, all which are linked with unhealthy eating patterns. And like this was the case like pre-COVID as well. So like it's not like COVID struck and this happened. Like this has been ingrained in their community. Like just the lack of general access to healthy foods on the reservation. And like we really aim to change that with our food sovereignty initiatives. We want the community to have the ability to choose to live and eat healthier. And we want to make it really easy to make that choice by providing easy access to these healthy foods. We understand that simply providing the food won't be enough. Healthy food isn't currently ingrained into our community, so we need to educate our community about the positive impacts that and benefits that these foods can have and how they can be made delicious. In my spare time, I make brief like instructional videos on Instagram, like with food. So once our garden begins to yield vegetables for the community, I plan to create these videos like from the food that we get from our garden, and then prepare it healthily, prepare it so it'll taste good for the community, and then sort of distribute it as like an educational tool and something to get them excited about healthy eating and something to make it a little bit less intimidating. I think Stella's going to talk about why food sovereignty is important.
Yeah, so before we told you about our project, we just wanted to talk about like what it is and why it's really important to us. So I found this definition on US Food Sovereignty Alliance website, and it says food sovereignty is the right of peoples to healthy and culturally appropriate food produced through ecologically sound and sustainable methods, and their right to find their own food and agricultural systems. It puts the aspirations and needs of those who produce, distribute, and consume food at the heart of the food systems and policies rather than the demands of the market or corporations. And so I thought that this definition gave a pretty good overview of what food sovereignty is. So now for why it's important. It's really important to us because it would really be helping our community. This program will educate the next generations on how to grow and sustain food properly. It will bring the people of the community together. And this program is also going to be ran by people of the community so that there are no outsiders having any say whatsoever. But most importantly, we are in need of fresh fruits and vegetables, as Walker said. Like we have high rates of health issues that can be prevented by eating better. So us giving out fresh, healthy food will promote healthy eating in our community, which is so important, especially to me because I'm going into the health professions. So of course I want people of Walker River eating right and staying healthy. And so this food sovereignty program has a lot of benefits. And so I will let Darcy tell you more about ours.
So this brings us to our 2020 Food Sovereignty Project. Walker and Stella just discussed the necessity for this type of program. And our vision statement is to break down the barriers that exist to healthy, sustainable foods for our tribe by instilling a local system of projects and resources that will be available for the community. We aim to improve the health and quality of food that is available to the people on our reservation. And in the next slides, I'll be discussing the planning, implementation, and planting portions of this project. So in the planning, I first took a satellite image of the area and overlaid the existing structures and the existing trees and plants so that they're easier to identify. I then gathered as much information as possible, and this involved speaking with other departments and tribal employees to identify existing water lines and sewer structures such as the leach fields shown in green, because we wanted to do a larger garden plot, and this is for upcoming in the next year. The two smaller yellow are what we have planted this year. And then we, as you can see from talking with other departments, that we are planning the tribe itself is planning a community development program. and that's a community safety center up to the north of us. So our little section will fit right nicely in with all of the other tribal stuff going on. And so I had to get out there and survey and measure the distances for how far spigots were apart and how big our hoop house was and how much room we would have if our building would actually fit in the plot that we described. And I also spoke to local elders and the local farmers, because as you can see on our on our vision statement, you can see that we have a major alfalfa farming. That's our major crops out here. So when I spoke with them, they suggested types of plants and trees to plant, and issues such as bugs and like the ground is really alkaline in some places, and certain things to look out for, and then the certain planting techniques that work the best out this way. So basically I just did a lot of research when the three of us did a lot of research before we even went into any of the implementation. So for implementation, I went to some of our nearest nurseries, which is about 40 miles away. And I visited 3 different nurseries, and we saw that, they all provided plants that were not native, but they were grown in and acclimated to our climate out here. And so after we did that, we put in the purchase orders and estimates for the plants. And we got about 150 vegetable and herb seedlings. So that included tomatoes and onions and pumpkins and stuff like that. And then we got 42 various fruit trees. And so we got, because we started later in the season, we got what was pretty much what was left, but it gave us a good base for plums and cherries and different kinds of apples and apricots and stuff. So we had to wait until we got our laborers hired on, but then it took us about 3 days to get all of that in the ground once our laborers were there and the trees were delivered. So a little bit more about our tree planting. That first week when our laborers were hired, we got the holes dug. One of our laborers actually was a contractor and has access to an excavator. So he dug the holes in the ground because that ground it's based in clay and sand. So it was, like cement when we tried to go out there and dig it. So we were lucky to have that. And because the ground was so hard and dry, we had to soak it. And we did 2 days of soaking. And then when the trees were delivered, the nursery actually offered a planting class, which I highly recommend for anybody who's doing any kind of new planting or has a group of people, because no one wants to admit that they don't know how to plant a tree. But then even if you do, no matter how many trees you planted, you'll always learn something new. That you'll find a different technique or something that'll help your plant thrive a little bit more. So that, and because this is an investment and you don't want to lose it. So we were trying to give it the best start possible so that we don't have any losses, hopefully this year. And so, like I said, it took us 3 days to get this in the ground. And we're now working on our sprinkler and drip systems. So that's our next step for the trees. And for our vegetable garden, I showed you on the map where there's 2 plots on either side of our hoop house. And those plots are 16 by 80 feet long. And so they provide 1,280 square feet of planting available. And we are going to fence the outer perimeter of that because we have a really bad issue with chipmunks. And that's what the issues in the past have been for community members, because this site has traditionally, people have tried to go down and plant, but then the local critters and bugs and stuff got to them. So we're trying to make a place where they don't have, you have less issues going forward. So it's more of a motivation for people wanting to plant. And then this picture on the bottom is a picture of the inside of our hoop house earlier this year. Right now, our plants are big and very happy. So we're already harvesting. We got some cucumbers and squash and peppers out of there, actually. So we're off to a good start. And all of our workers are actually community members, which gives them the unique opportunity to be able to work early in the morning or later in the evening because you're not far away from your home. And this is so, we have 100+ degrees of weather this for days on end. And so we were trying to get in and out before the hottest part of the day happened. So we'd get in there about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock and then leave by noon before, you know, the hottest part of the day. And then we'd all come back in the evening about 5 and stay until 8. So everybody gets their hours, but we also don't have to worry about stuff as such as heat stroke and overheating and stuff like that. And these community members are important because they are younger people who have their own families, and they're helping pass down those kinds of learnings to their families. You know, the importance of vegetables and taking care of plants and kind of taking ownership, because like Stella said, it's important to bring the community together, and this type of project is going to be controlled by the community once it's been established. And it teaches life lessons and through shared experiences. In the bottom picture, we have Victor Williams, and he's showing some things about how to fix hoses, because he's been working on that hoop house this is his 2nd year, I believe. And so, you know, he's been a great help with he had to take his own planting classes, and his own experiences have brought together some, you know, awesome knowledge that we wouldn't have otherwise. And so the overall goal is actually to provide the space and opportunities for community members to plant and preserve the vegetables they grow and the fruit that they harvest in the building that we're going to establish.
Okay, so for our food sovereignty project, we want to have a big building on the property. It will be 40 by 60 feet, and it will be used as a place to regulate the water and the building of the orchard and garden. It will also be a place for storing, canning, and dehydrating all the food that we produce. And inside, we want to have a big industrial kitchen where we can have cooking demos of traditional foods, and we can also host community meals. We will also be able to hold any cooking or planting and gardening classes in the building. So like Darcy said, right now we have a few things growing, and as they grow them, we pick the food and we just give it to the senior center so that they can distribute it. But eventually we want to have a space in the building where people are able to come and buy and sell and collect all the produce that we grow. And so this is the design of our building. Our budget for the building itself was $200,000, and it will be a 40 by 60 foot building, and we plan on making it eco-friendly. So we want to use solar panels on the outside of the building. And for the interior, our budget for the equipment and supplies is $80,000 for the kitchen, office, and bathroom. And when it came to designing the kitchen, Kier from IAC has connected us with Scott Heskick from Hessman Group in Oklahoma. And they are a Native American owned firm who designs industrial kitchens. So he gave us some tips on what kind of equipment we need and things like that, which is very helpful. And so this is a design that Walker and I came up with. So on the top left is our kitchen. In the kitchen, we'll have a walk-in fridge and freezer, an ice machine, 2 industrial stoves, and 2 sink spaces. We will also have multiple large working tables in the center so that people can work from each side of the table. And we'll also need a lot of shelving in our building. So along the walls by the office is a bunch of shelving. And in the space to the right, we're going to leave it open so that we can set up room for so we can set up tables for classes or community dinners that we're having or anything like that. So the next thing that we wanted to talk about was tribal ecological knowledge, or TEK projects. First, TEK is the knowledge of local resources and the way primarily indigenous cultures understand the relationships between humans and the environment and ecosystem. It's the knowledge that we have received through years and years of being connected with the environment and learning how it changes and how we can help it and how we can help us survive. And so we can use this knowledge to help improve our ecosystems today. And so it's really important for students like me to be involved in projects like these because they can preserve the tradition of being in touch with the environment. And this knowledge will also help educate the next generation on how we can adapt to environment and help make it thrive. One future TEK project that we have planned is growing traditional foods and herbs in our garden so that we can give it out to the community, and this will help keep those important traditional foods around. And so I'll let Walker tell you about some other TEK projects that we have been involved in the past.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So in the past, we've had two major TEK projects. So the first one being buckberries and the second one being pine nuts. So buckberries are small red indigenous berries that grow in our surrounding area, usually along wetlands. They can be harvested and used for jams and puddings. So I had the opportunity to go on a buckberry picking trip with a couple elders. One of the guys who's actually helping us with the hoop house, Victor Williams, took us out a couple of years ago. We brought a bunch of tribal youth, and he really taught us how, like, where to find them, how to harvest them, and then he took us back to Schurz and taught us how to clean them and how to store them. And like showing that process to the youth was really cool. And then in a couple of weeks, once all the berries were cleaned and stored, we had another elder, Florence Glazer, come and show us how to prepare them into jams and pudding. This was a really exciting opportunity for me because it allowed me to cook, and it also gave me a taste of that tradition that Stella was kind of talking about that she was missing, because like that's kind of the same case for me, but not after these 4 years. But like anyways, that cultural preservation is really important. Like there was youth involved in like every step of that. And I know Elvita, our coordinator, was telling me that Taylor had brought her some pudding the other day, some buckberry pudding, and it's really cool to see that come full cycle. And then the other TEK project that the whole entire tribe is always involved in is our annual Pine Nut Festival. So in September, there's about like a 2-week stoppage of all other tribal business, and it brings the entire tribe together, and we work towards this common goal of getting ready for the Pine Nut Festival. So we all load up into trucks, we go out early into the Pine Nut Hills, and like everybody's out there picking. It doesn't matter if you're 9 or if you're 90, like the entire tribe is out there. And then we all come back, and for like the next week or so, we're all sitting at tables cleaning out all the nuts out of the shells. And again, like everybody, all ages, it doesn't matter. But what I really like about this is that it brings the community get together over food, and shows some of the younger people those traditions, and it has those elder people who sort of have been doing this their entire life, and they get to pass on little tips and tricks to everybody. Sort of going back into our food sovereignty project and the community, just like a measure of community engagement that we feel that we're really excelling in is our online presence in the community, and the engagement that they're having there. So our community is really big into Facebook. So this is the platform that we've really chosen to focus on when in regards to our food sovereignty program. So we try and post like pretty frequently, and our posts aim to be very transparent, interesting, and informative for our community. So some examples of things like that. So like we posted our budget right at the beginning, and we are like to keep them updated with photos and progress updates from the garden. Something very successful in the community that the community has really been able to like rally around are these spotlights for our workers that I've been doing. So like after we had everybody hired on, I did like a very like simple interview and kind of got to know each and every one of them. And I've been posting like spotlights so the community gets to know them on a more personal level. All of our laborers are like community members, so it really gives the community another reason to celebrate themselves and bring people together through this food project. Looking ahead for our food sovereignty projects, we have our laborers and gardeners hired on through December, and we got funding through the CARES Act. So like, should the CARES Act get extended, we could extend the gardeners like through next year. We're looking at the construction and design of the community building. We are going to install an agricultural well for our garden. And then we want to install planting areas for community members so they could come and plant their own vegetables and use our soil. We're also looking at creating a food code and looking at leading healthy cooking classes and demonstrations, and sort of getting our community more ingrained with this healthy lifestyle and eating these healthy foods. So in conclusion, we just wanted to talk about how you can become involved. So watching things like these IAC webinars and becoming involved in other programs and online research about food sovereignty. And then one of the biggest ones is learning from other tribes. I know Kier mentioned that like a lot of tribes out there are doing food sovereignty projects. There's a lot of like really interesting blueprints that you could look at and do something similar on your tribe. You want to be able to use information as a tool and then guide yourself with that. Do you guys have any questions for us?
free to post questions either in the Q&A or the chat section, and I'll kick it off with a question for each of the interns. What was your biggest aha of the summer so far? And we can just kind of go down the list there.
Biggest aha. What's an aha, Kier?
I guess how I'm approaching it is like your biggest learning, like your biggest impact for the summer so far. You know, like what was it that really stuck out at you with all the projects you'd worked on this summer? Do
you want me to go?
Yeah, go for it, Darcy.
So with me, it was, I had never actually heard of this program. And then someone said, you know what, you should do it. And then with the fact that it's with water resources, when it comes to what my degree is in, it's really flexible. And so I was like, yeah, I could do something like that. And then the fact that it was, when she said that's what we're doing, food sovereignty, it really clicked because we had actually had, you know, our nearest grocery store is 26 miles or something away. And they were limiting the amount of vegetables you can get, and people from actually out of state. We had people from California come, and they were, you know, I don't want to say looting or raiding, but, you know, they were actually coming to our small town grocery stores that are only made to support, you know, a couple hundred people and wiping us out. So when it came to food sovereignty, I was really passionate, really excited about this because, you know, going shopping and not being able to pick up a head of lettuce or a couple of good tomatoes, and it was really stressful. So I think that's where my aha moment came, was when she said that this is what we're doing. I was just right on board with everything.
I think, am I muted? Oh, you can hear me. So I think for me, it was sort of being able to tie in some skills that I learned, like business related skills, into being able to contribute to this food sovereignty program. Because I remember like when Elvita like first introduced it to us, it sounded like we were planting a garden, and I'm not like typically one to like go sit in the dirt and like get my hands dirty and stuff like that. But like I was able to still contribute and still really tie the community into it by doing some of those interviewing skills and some of the things I learned in like an HR class, and like being able to spotlight them like I learned in my marketing class, and like just being able to tie in some of the skills that I learned like throughout my time at the University of Oregon to this project and really see it like impact the community and make a difference was probably my biggest moment, I would say.
I think my biggest moment for me was tying food sovereignty and the ag business back into my profession. So like I said earlier, just like promoting healthy eating so that the people of Walker River are healthier. And also this past year, I took a lot of biology classes where we learn about plants and how they grow and what they need and everything like that. So that also ties into gardening and planting. And I thought that was really cool.
Great. Question for you all from David. Let's see, looks like, do you envision producing any food products like jam or dried fruit or anything to sell off the res in order to provide financial support to the program on the res?
I mean, like with that industrial kitchen, I don't see why not. I mean, like definitely, like I think once we have everything in place, we would definitely have like the means to do that. So I mean, like with all the fruit and stuff, like that is definitely a possibility.
And we definitely have to expand our orchard. You know, we only have, I think with a total, it was like 45 trees, 40 or 50 trees that we actually have producing fruit and stuff. But we also have to think about our food codes. Like he said, we have to get that going. And I don't know if it's so much supporting this program, or we're looking for, I think we'd have to find our base funding somewhere else because, you know, like I said, we're so remote, and we'd have to definitely get it established, but this is more definitely for our community than anything.
Great. Any other questions out there? I know Ms. Elvita Martinez has been, you know, integral to this and in facilitating the internship. So I just want to acknowledge her and just, you know, I'm really glad that we got connected to ensure that we're highlighting this amazing program there at Walker River. Do you have anything to share about the process or the experience from this summer, Alvita?
I would just like to say that I really believe that, you know, when the CARES Act came to our tribe and I submitted a proposal and a budget to our tribe, you know, I was really happy that they approved it because, you know, this is what we want to be a long-term project. You know, this is just the start of it. This is fruits and vegetables, but we need the building so we can work on it. We need to have a program and funding to sustain this program. But again, along with that comes the traditional ecological knowledge. Again, we've talked to different people of, you know, growing more buckberries along our river on the reservation. We applied for funding through Native American Agriculture Fund to help fund a planet picking project. So again, we want to tie all of these things together. But I tell my crew and I tell the students all the time that this is evolving. This is an evolving project. But we need to work to, you know, take care of our own people. And what better way is through traditional foods, fruits and vegetables, and then we're going to have walkers cooking us some healthy meals. We have other people within our staff and our crew down there that are really focusing on healthy foods and getting it out to the people. You know, that's what we need to do in order to keep us healthy. You know, a lot of us aren't. You know, our diabetes is bad on the reservation. You know, I guess I'm selfish because I need this. So I just think our reservations all across the country, this is, it's a big deal. The food sovereignty issue is we need to take care of ourselves. So again, thanks, Kerr, for giving us this opportunity, you know, to showcase what we're doing at Walker River. And I'm really proud of our students and all of our gardeners and laborers that we have on board.
Yeah, we were really excited to host you all and to have you highlight your program because we thought it was such an amazing model having you know, students and young people being involved in such important work to grow initiatives that directly respond to the need to feed, you know, your community. And so that was just a wonderful you know, overview that you students provided, and it just is really an excellent example, I think, to Indian country as a whole to show that you know, our young people can be at the helm of like critical decisions being made and the implementation around food systems work within our tribal communities. So thank you all so much. If there's not any other questions, we can go ahead and wrap up and see. Okay. David again, he says he works on similar things elsewhere where we see the soil quality efforts, or excuse me, soil quality affects garden success and nutrition in the crops. I hope you also I hope you will also study how the gardening affects the soil biodiversity over time. This is also powerful knowledge that weaves together people and the earth. Really great comment there.
Yeah, we'll have to put that in our studies for ongoing, because we actually had to bring in a lot like you know, we had a truckload of soil delivered because our ground, like I said, is just clay and sand. So we had to make sure that our plants got off to a good start. So that, yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, again, congratulations to all the students. You've made amazing headway this summer, and I'm sure your community is very proud of you. And thank you all for joining us today. We'll go ahead and wrap up for now. And you know, we're running webinars on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so please do you know, sign up for our mailing list through our website, indianag.org, as well as check us out on Facebook, Intertribal Agriculture Council. And thank you to all our partners and the participants today. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and thank you again, students.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kier.
Take care. Bye-bye.